Hey friends, welcome back to The Production Pastor. If you're new here, The Production Pastor is all about helping you and your team grow as technical artists and disciples of Jesus. In this video, I specifically want to talk about a great way you can do that. You can grow as an artist and a disciple, and that is through something called the Production Pastor Community. You may have heard me talk about the community in the past couple months. I tried launching it at the beginning of COVID just in response to us all changing our jobs and needing to have a place where we could support one another. But it was a little hard to get that to roll. I think most of us were a little overwhelmed with all the content that we were seeing. We didn't want to have one extra thing to check on. And really the platform itself that I was using was a little too simple and didn't have as much engagement as I wanted. So in this video, I am relaunching the community, and I want to tell you more about why I think you should be a part of it and some new things that are going to happen in the community moving forward. So let's talk a little bit about why I think a community like this is so important. And there's three main reasons that I have. The first one is having a safe place. For those of us who work in church production full-time, there's a lot of stuff that we do that other people either don't understand or sometimes they just actually cause it. And so having a place where we can talk about the hard parts of our ministry away from our senior pastors, away from our worship teams, away from our congregation, and possibly even our own production team, the goal is to actually have a safe place where we can talk without all those distractions, without having to explain ourselves to all those people, and be able to talk about the hard parts of ministry. Be able to talk about how this person did that and that hurt us and that offended us or made it really challenging, and be able to talk about that honestly with one another without having fear of those people hearing about it or having to worry about anything being said or being mentioned outside of the community. And so my goal is that the community is a safe place for whatever conversation for us to have, that we could just be ourselves, bring our full selves, and just be real with one another as we talk about the challenges and some of the great things that we go through as production leaders. The second thing, and the reason I think it's so important, is just for the sake of community. For us to grow, we have to find ways to grow together. However, there's a lot of us who we work full time, but we don't maybe work with someone who is our equal. We don't have another one of us at our churches. We may have people who report to us who are either part-time leads or volunteers who are great at what they do, but they may not be in the trenches as deep with us. And even if they are, it's really helpful to have an outside perspective so that we can talk about what's happening in our church, hear what's happening from others, and not just talk about the technical things, but talk about how we're doing. Talk about how's our life outside of our work? How's our family doing? How are we taking care of our own souls? It's also through this community that we continue to grow as technical artists and as disciples in all the different areas of our lives. And then the third reason I think this is so important is actually collaboration. It's really easy to look at what every other church is doing online because we all have digital services now. But that doesn't necessarily make it a healthy way to figure out what people are doing. It's one thing to watch someone's service and see what they're doing and make some observations based on their lighting and their audio and their camera angles, but it's hard to understand what's really happening without the context of why they made certain decisions. And so actually being able to collaborate is great because we can hear how we came to certain decisions on pieces of gear or how we structure our teams, or even getting feedback on our services and feedback on how we can grow better. And so this collaboration piece is really important for me because it is how we grow as technical artists. It's not just our community being able to talk about things and grow as disciples, it's us getting feedback directly on our own work in a place that is safe, that we can get constructive criticism instead of having to worry about people at our church telling us what they like or don't like about our content. And so I think these three main reasons are why the community is so important for those of us who work in full-time ministry in the church. And the reason I'm so excited about this is I have a really great vision for what this will look like moving forward. So if you've been a part of the community in the past, or maybe you haven't heard about it, it was just a Slack channel. It was pretty bare bones, pretty simple, a lot of text, and that really wasn't the best way for us to truly engage in some of the stuff I'm talking about. So moving forward, I've actually completely redesigned and are using a different platform to host the community. So people will be able to post questions, entire articles, reviews, videos, much richer content to actually help us engage these conversations. But more than that, I have another plan is actually to do a weekly hangout call with you guys. These calls are just designed for us to have FaceTime together. It's one thing to look at text and say things there and have conversations. It's another thing to just look at one another. And so my hope with these calls is that we can catch up, see how we're doing. We can talk about issues that we're having. We can get feedback on our work. But mostly we can just hang out and get to know one another better. The last thing I'm really excited for is starting September 1st, we are actually going to go through Todd Elliott's book, I Love Jesus, But I Hate Christmas, together as a community. The book is broken up into 4 different sections, and so we will tackle each section for each week of the month of September. So I've written out a little bit of a reading plan for us to have conversation about, and then we will continue those hangout calls and actually talk about what we're learning together and how we can apply that in our own ministries. So starting September 1st is a great time for you to try out the community if you haven't before. The best part is that every community membership comes with a 1-month free trial. So if you're on the fence about it and you're not sure if a community like this is for you, I recommend you come join us in September, walk through this book together, and just see what the community is like. Ask questions, seek some feedback, get the most out of that 1 month free, and then see if it works for you. That's my goal here, is not to pressure you into joining something that you're not sure about, but really to find a place where you can connect on an actual deep relational level with other production leaders who understand what it's like to struggle in production ministry, to enjoy and love production ministry, but also have to figure out what that looks like in the midst of our lives, in the midst of our families, in the midst of our changing times. That is my goal of the community. So I'm extremely excited for the community, relaunching it and trying something new with it. And I would love for you to be a part of it. If you want to learn more about the community, I have left a link down below in the description. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. You can drop a comment below, DM me on Instagram, or shoot me an email. Let me know what's up. And if not, I will see you in the community.